Thank you for joining us on the Pristine Connections podcast. I'm Ashley Furr, and we are here with George Gutierrez, who works with Health Coverage Educators. You are a health insurance agent.
Yes.
Perfect.
Advisors.
Advisor. Sorry, we'll get
yeah.
technical.
We're educating people through advising,
Yeah.
essentially.
I love that. Well, thank you for joining us. I would love to just hear a little bit more about you. I know we just touched about your fiance and school, but tell me more.
We wanted the Dallas area. So both of us, I'm from Waco. She's from Brownwood. We both wanted the big city.
Yeah.
We wanted to live here for as long as I can remember. Traveling and stuff like that, playing on soccer teams. We both came to the Dallas area playing and stuff like that. So we tried Corpus Christi out first, a little dabble, kind of a little bigger, and then made our way to Dallas. And we're really thankful because my sister-in-law, her sister actually got us into this industry.
Okay.
I started out, still going through school. COVID had hit, so it was really crazy with school and stuff like that. And I didn't know I was going to finish, honestly.
Wow.
A lot of people were telling me, especially when I came into this industry, just don't do it. Just drop out. You'll make more money. You're not going to be in debt and stuff like that. Thankful I did it. My grandparents are thankful I did it. My mother as well. So it's one of those things that, finished school, came up here, and now it's been just like a crazy roller coaster. One of the funny things that a guy says in my office is doing insurance and doing sales, being fully commissioned. Your emotions are like a crypto chart. They're all over the place. You're constantly feeling the lows, feeling the highs, and it's you have a good group of people that we work with, so it makes it really, really smooth.
Yeah, that's great. So does your fiance do the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She actually started before me.
Okay.
So full disclosure, this involved a lot of cold calling initially when we first started. Just because you got to get good at talking to people on the phone and understanding the product and things like that. But once that came true, I full-heartedly believe in what I offer people and the advising and things like that. What we strive to do is do the right thing for the client more than anything else. It's not I'm trying to make a sale this week. Let me make sure that this guy gets on a plane. He has no idea what it is, right? That's not what I'm doing. There's no reason for me to do that. I have enough clients as it is to do the right thing for every single person I talk to. And what's really nice, after I said, doing cold calling, we did cold calling for about 2 years, right? I was still bartending, still school full time. We did cold calling. We're able to get, buying leads and stuff like that. And now it's transitioned more into me doing networking and stuff like that, me doing, more organic sales, meeting people, making connections that way. Referrals has been a really big part of our business now. Hers more so than mine.
Yeah.
She's a lot better looking than me, and she does, speaks a lot better, I think, sometimes. So I've learned a lot from her when it comes to it. She was a really good bartender as well. So.
That's great. That's really, really great. Have y'all picked a wedding date? Or are y'all still planning everything?
We are engaged, and we're thinking next April, and we kind of have a date is the Easter weekend. Okay. Because we want to try to get everybody. I have a bigger family than she does, so a lot of people are all over the place. We try to get everybody in together around the same time. So Easter weekend was going to be easy. And I think that's kind of our set date. I don't know if anything's going to change from now to then, but that's our set date. Yeah.
Hey, April, my husband and I, our anniversary is Friday. April's a good time.
Oh, congratulations.
It's a great time because it's right. It's just on that sweet spot.
Oh,
it
Texas
feels great outside.
Yeah, right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
I understand the big family thing. Trying to plan a wedding with a huge family is a nightmare. So more power to her.
We've always done holidays the week before.
Yes.
With my family because they know that we're going to have other extended families that we're going to go see. So my mother's side specifically, we have those kind of holidays the week before, and then we go spend other families on the actual day of the holiday.
Yeah, we had to do that too because it's what day, what time? No, I'm not going to 5 Christmases. In one day. This is ridiculous. So that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So y'all moved up here. I mean, what was the move like? Y'all obviously are both from, South Texas. Waco's more central, but South Texas, and y'all are now in North Texas. So what made that change happen?
Just work, the office, and we were doing the remote thing, and it was good for a little while, but the knowledge that we needed was in the office. The camaraderie was in the office. And Dallas area itself is so big. I wouldn't be able to do the networking I'm doing now in Corpus Christi. There's no way. I did networking, and I was a part of the NAACP down there in Corpus Christi, but it was just not on the same level at all. I went to a networking event, funny enough, on Friday last week, just to try to meet people down there, and there was no one there. No one showed up for the event. It was really sad.
That is sad.
Yeah, I was like, guys, you gotta do more. You know, it's
Yeah.
like we walked into the bar and the bar didn't even. It was at a bar, right? It was at a bar. It was kind of like a mixer thing. And the bar didn't even know they were having it. It
Oh,
was that small. So it's like,
they'll get there.
yeah, the networking here though was just so amazing. I've like
For sure.
dive deep. Like I try to do at least like 3 to 4, sometimes 5. You know, in like a week period. I was doing more.
Yeah.
Now I'm like I have to do this and give time to my clients and be able to still
Sure.
make money. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not always a surefire thing going to
Yeah.
a networking event.
I understand that for sure. I mean, networking is a huge piece. I've said this on the podcast before. At first, I used to think it was kind of dumb, just people going out all the time, always networking, because then I
Mhm.
feel like you're just losing work time.
Mhm.
But in reality, when you start off in a business, I mean, you are building a referral base, and
Right.
when you make one person happy, you'll make other people happy, and they'll continue to just refer you. So
Mhm.
it is very crucial, and I think you spend your time wisely doing it. You're like, I know I'm going to these few networking groups per
Mhm.
week. These are the most success I have with them, and on you go.
Yeah.
And you've built your business off of that, which is huge.
Yeah, yeah.
So does your fiance? Do y'all go to the same networking events, or I
I
mean,
try to drag her along to
yeah,
these things. She's not the outgoing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not that outgoing. I just do it for these events. Like my social battery
yeah,
is like slowly going down right now. But at the same time, I like try to put myself out more. I had a bigger family. I think that's where it contributes from. She came from like a kind of smaller family. So it's one of those things where
Yeah.
I talk to people. I stayed, up to date with more and things like that. So
yeah.
getting to know people is a lot easier. I feel
Sure.
like.
Sure. So within you're obviously an educator. So what all do you advise on with health coverages? I mean, what all? I guess tell me about what you sell.
Yeah, so my primary focus is educating anyone that either has a plan now or doesn't have a plan, right?
Okay.
Those are two spectrums we fall into. Someone that has a plan now is either not liking their plan or it's too expensive or they don't know how to use it or they got signed up with someone and they've never talked to that agent ever again. So that's that kind of spectrum. So we really can help people within the W-2 era or like I say era, but area, right? That are either spending too much or they don't like their plan. We can help them find other options through what we primarily work with is a private market.
Okay.
So that's where the sole person, the small business owner, the 1099 person is kind of the person I focus on more because no one's doing it for them, right?
Sure.
No one's giving them coverage, especially if you're 1099. No one wants to deal with that, right? And especially if you're trying to start a family, doing that 1099, it only goes so far, right? You cannot, sustain a family, not offer, not have health coverage because kids are expensive and, times are expensive now and not having the coverage is, super detrimental either to the business or the person. It's, yeah, I've had awful experiences dealing with small businesses that have said, oh, I didn't ever have it, right? Never had it, and then all of a sudden somebody breaks their leg and they're out hundreds of thousands of dollars for that recovery time and the surgery and stuff like that. The business tanks. There's no way the business is going to keep going whenever they leave and they don't have that kind of foundation.
That's very true. It is hard. And I think just a lot of people are uneducated. So it's great that you are taking the time to just really walk them through it because there is a lot of health coverage out there. There's a lot of rules out there. Rules change all the time. Or laws change. I shouldn't say rules. The laws change all the time.
Laws change as well.
And y'all are having to keep up with that education for yourselves and for your current client base or future client base. And it gets really confusing. I mean, I learned some information on health wise from my CPA of all people, and then it got us thinking.
They're
and
great.
I'm like, well, why didn't we know this before?
Yeah. CPA people, they deal with it. They're trying to make sure it's a write-off for these small businesses and stuff like that. A lot of people don't realize that, especially if you're going and getting it on your own. Yeah, that's a huge instance for you to just try to completely write that off.
For sure.
But yeah, education and we just didn't learn it. We weren't taught that kind of stuff in high school.
They're still not.
In college, I mean, I was like, my social entrepreneurship was my background. Was studying in business, and it was one of those things. It's like I learned how to run a business, right? No, I started a nonprofit, but I didn't even know about covering myself with insurance and stuff like that. Like listening to the guy today at Pristine Networks, the connection was it was eye opening in the same sense that he was talking about actually covering yourself in certain areas that I didn't even think I'm an insurance guy. That's what I'm saying. Education is like it's unlimited, right?
It is. It is.
There's no amount that you actually feel like you actually understand.
Yeah.
And then it could all crumble with someone new coming in and saying something like that today. So it's amazing.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's also my former boss, but so I'm a little biased. But no, I mean, genuinely, but he's been in the industry for a really long time,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's key. Like, how long have you been in the industry?
3 years.
But that's still a long time, where most people might make it 1, 2, you know, just a couple, you know, and you're 3 moving into 4 now and really just learning. But you've also learned from your sister-in-law, and obviously your fiance started doing it and you're doing it. So there's so much value add there. You know, that's not just by yourself. Like, you have all the means and resources to lean on other people, which I think is huge.
Yeah, it's
you know?
it's massive.
It is.
The agents that are also in my office with me, you know, we're all 1099, but we all work collectively.
Yeah.
So their experiences, their training and stuff like that, everything's recorded. So I've learned so much from really, really amazing people.
Yeah.
Honestly, gotten really lucky.
Yeah, we'll dive into crazy stories in a minute, since you do work with a lot, because I'm sure y'all have had to lean on, like, hey, this scenario happened to me. What did you do? You know,
It's a daily basis.
But what's your drive? Tell me what motivates you.
Right now, honestly, it's just saving up. You know, we want a house, we want a family, and you know, I have other ambitions outside of the insurance realm. Like, I know what this career is for myself, as in the idea I'm gonna build my residuals.
Yeah.
So I want my residuals to be at a point where I don't have to, you know, hunt for that new sale, right? I don't want to have to go out and do as much as I have to now to get a sale. It's more the idea that I am, you know, comfortable. I got enough referral base. Monthly wise, I'm doing okay. Annually doing well. I'm going to start my own business. So the drive for me is actually starting my own distillery. So,
oh, what fun.
Yeah, I'm a huge whiskey guy. I love whiskey, and I've done it. I've been around in the realm since I was 9 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a huge driver. It's a part of her dream now as well. We talk about it,
I love that.
starting the distillery and doing all kinds of crazy things, like having it partly at a restaurant and doing food out of it and stuff like that. We're both really good, big foodies.
Yeah.
It comes with being, I feel like, whiskey drinkers and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's definitely I look into the skies. I'm like, oh, that's my dream for sure. Like, that's the driver. Like, I know that's what I'm gonna do in the future.
Yeah.
And it's has to be, because I've done so much. I've learned so much in that industry that I have to use that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's really fascinating. So obviously you've been in for 3 years. You have a wide network of other health insurance agents that you work with too. So what have been some of the biggest challenges starting? I know you've learned from your sister-in-law, or soon-to-be sister-in-law, your fiance, but what challenges have you guys faced so far?
Starting was the education, the actually not knowing anything about health insurance, right?
Yeah.
We grew up, we're on our parents' insurance. My parents were my dad and my stepmother were teachers. My mother was a teacher, and then my stepdad was actually self-employed. So it's all of these people collectively didn't teach me anything about health insurance at all, right? They were on the TRS, they were on teachers' plans. They didn't worry about it, right? Yeah. That was being offered to them. Self-employed. I don't even know if he had health insurance when we were growing up. So it's one of those things. He might have been on the TRS plan or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the biggest struggle, is not knowing anything about what we're actually doing, or laws, like you were saying, because those are constantly changing. But yeah, that was definitely the biggest struggle. I would say talking to people and trying to, sell a product wasn't an issue. I did that. My grandmother would tell you, I sold bubble gum to kids and stuff like that. So literally, and then I sold Cutco. I don't know if you know vector marketing.
The Cutco
so I did
knives.
the Cutco.
Those were great.
Yeah, I did that for a summer. Did really well with that, and then that kind of just drove me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a salesman. I already know. I was like, if I have to sell cars, I will. Sell homes. I'll get that eventually. I know that's gonna come too in the future. So
it should. I think real estate's great.
Yeah, likewise.
That's awesome. Really fascinating. So I'm going to dive back to crazy stories. So you've obviously had some challenges, but you also talk to a lot of people, and the world's kind of crazy right now. So would have been some crazy stories, funny stories, heartwarming.
I mean, the sad ones I don't really like to talk about, because it's just that person owned their business, they put their whole livelihood into it, and then losing it like that, and it's heartbreaking. I couldn't even imagine that right now. So really funny stories that I like to talk about is like whenever I have clients call me and they're like, you know, do I have to call you every time I go to the doctor? I'm like, no, you don't have to, but it can, you know, be beneficial to you in some way, right?
Sure.
That like a client of mine recently, he was, you know, on his way to an urgent care when he called me on the phone, and I was like, well, you know, have you used other portions of your plan, like MD Live, which is something that we offer as a teledoc
Yeah.
service and stuff like that? Well, no, I didn't even know. I was like, well, use MD Live real quick, okay? So use MD Live, and in the time it took me, I was on a drive from like Arlington to North Dallas area.
Mm-hmm.
The time it took me from Arlington, North Dallas area, he'd already gotten on the phone, already gotten his prescription and everything like that. So it's like that saved him
Yeah.
2 hours in the doctor's office, right?
Sure.
And then maybe 4 hours waiting for his prescription to be filled, like all this time and stuff like that. Whenever, you know, there's things that you could have called me, I could have helped you out
Yeah.
with. Those are some of the funny ones. I mean, my little brother was actually another instance a week ago. He was dying. Oh my God, dying. I need to speak to a doctor right now. I was like, have you used your urgent care? I mean, the teledoc service. Like, have you talked to them on the
Yeah.
phone? And he got him on the phone, got a prescription, fine in 2 days. I was like, oh my gosh, here's such a baby.
I'm dying.
Yeah, and
He's
in,
WebMDing
he's
online.
in college. Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
college right now, so he's on his own, and he's like, yeah, he's funny. He's in San Marcos. He's a great kid, though.
That's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
probably, I'm sure people that just have you on speed dial, like trying to call you every instance, like,
Oh,
I broke my arm. Where do I go?
yeah, yeah. Or like guys will like tell me, you know, I hurt my back, and I'm like, oh, well, how did you? I need to know these things. I like to tell people, I'm like your lawyer when it comes to these health things, right? So I need to know, right? We need to know how things need to be filed and stuff like that. You keeping information from me just makes me look dumb when I try to fight for you against the insurance company or fight against the doctor's office. I fight against both of these people, right? For you because I'm your agent.
Sure.
So it's one of those things. It's like if you don't tell me everything, then I don't know how to help you exactly. I just kind of file it certain ways, and then I don't necessarily fight, but help the doctors understand and stuff like that. And turns out, you know, the guy had fallen off a ladder a week later. He told me, and I'm like, you know, you could have saved a lot more money if you had told me it was an accident.
Yeah.
And rather than, you know,
Yeah.
you just waking up in the morning and your back was hurting.
And your back hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an underlying story to
Yeah.
that, which ends up being a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Oh, and then depending on the plan that he was on, right, without disclosing too much of the information of the plan, there was just there's separate deductibles for that, right? There's your deductibles for your, you know, sicknesses and stuff like that, and then there's deductibles for your accidents. So he would have been subject to this one instead of this one, and that would have saved him a lot more money and stuff like that. So
You're turning the Geico commercials into health insurance commercials at this point. You could
Yeah.
have saved $600 on your health insurance.
I try to tell people that a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
That's insane. I guess it is, but some people just really don't know, you know?
They don't.
And I think especially as you get older, you know, some people just want to do like the pay out of pocket because they don't, which I feel like could be worse. You know,
That's
I'm not
super
a health
dangerous.
insurance
Yeah.
expert, but I think about that. I'm like, technically they go to the doctor more, you know, as they get older. So
Yeah, you definitely need more coverage as you're getting older. I mean, granted, it's going to be more expensive, but your procedures are more expensive.
sure. Yeah.
And things like that. Or
Yeah.
you don't want to have to end up paying for stuff like that whenever you can have the insurance that you're paying on the monthly amount compared to the cost of it later. That's what I always try to preach is the price now, right, compared to the cost later.
Yeah.
There's the cost here could be dramatic. It can be insane.
And I'm sure, but one of the challenges you're facing too is just kind of the economy in general. Like I think a lot of people are really looking into their finances and just really thinking about, you know, like, is this worth the cost? But to your point, you know, you either pay now or you're going to really be paying for it later.
Yeah. Sadly, insurance is one of the first things to go. I feel like that, and then your kid's car, and then, you know, things like that follow.
Yeah.
So like
That's extreme, but I would hope not.
yeah,
But
well, like those are things that go first. I feel like is like the stuff you're not really needing.
yeah,
You know, you
or
can
they think
spend all
that
the
you really
time.
don't need. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. Do you have, you know, like a routine? Do you lean on reading like different leadership books? You obviously have big ambition, so kind of tell me your day to day.
My day to day really is, you know, getting in the office really as early as I can because there's lots of stuff to do. So getting in the office as early as we can, spending a good amount of time in the office in the mornings, middays. So I always like to try to preach to other like agents that are starting off. It's like never take a day off, only take time off. So like we'll work diligently in the mornings, right? Good time to speak with clients or follow up with clients is in the mornings. And then midday, so like 11:30, 12 to about 3 o'clock, 4, that's like free time. That's when I go do my stuff, like do anything I need, like go to the bank or go work out or go make meal prep in the middle of the day
Yeah.
or something like that. So that's whenever I go and do my day-to-day things. Evenings, you go back in. A lot of the people that I work with are business owners, right? So as a business owner, you're working during the day, right? You don't have the free time to sit and talk to an insurance agent for 2 hours because you're having, a good conversation or you really want to understand your policy that you're about to sign up for. So typically a lot of people I talk to are in the evenings. So a lot of my clients will schedule appointments from around 6 p.m. and all the way to 11. I've stayed on the phone with people until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Really? Oh my
Because
gosh.
that's what you got to do. I mean, I want this person to understand that what they're getting into is the best option for themselves, right? And it's going to be something that they can keep until they turn 65, because that's a lot of the insurance that I work with. So I don't work with any 65 and older. I'm
Okay.
strictly 65 and below.
Okay.
So a lot of
Just
my people.
personal preference, or that's
Just
just the market that you want to.
That's just the market that I work. I will
Okay.
refer out to Medicare people, and I don't any do anything with Medicaid. So I'm like in between.
Okay.
So I can help with Obamacare plans. I can help you look at Obamacare plans, but I'm really looking more. My main focus is going to be individuals wanting private insurance. Typically more expensive, less expensive than your Obamacare plans. They're paying full price for it. So the individual that's not getting a subsidy to the state, it's going to get full price Medicare or Obamacare, right? Those are the people I'm looking for.
Okay. That's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So since you obviously have talked about, long-term goals, owning your own business or businesses, what advice would you give to, the younger generation trying to step into either the health insurance world or just wanting to start a business in general?
Starting a business in general, you need the support, I would say. So if you feel like you don't have the support going into it, maybe wait. That's my only idea, is if you wait a little bit longer, maybe gain the support. Because going in and starting a business without any help is almost impossible.
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of support system, whether it's from your parents or a spouse or really good friends or something like that. It's really difficult, I would say, to do things on your own, and not having a good mentor and stuff like that. And then picking and choosing your mentors for me was really big. Like I had mentors, like a mentorship program essentially when I was in elementary school, that our teachers made us go find a mentor and things like that. When I was in
Yeah.
elementary school, I was like, oh, what am I going to use this? I still talk to her. Her name's Ann Temporello. Shout out to Ann Temporello. She's amazing. She's done all kinds of stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, all over the spectrum, from being a coach to being a police officer to owning your own business now.
Oh,
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I still love her to death. I haven't seen her in a while, but
Yeah.
I will definitely try to, if we ever cross paths, it's like,
Mhm.
I love her, still love her to death. She's amazing. So it's one of those things that you got to pick your mentors well,
Yeah.
right? They got to be someone that you can look up to and you can actually aspire to be and ask the crazy questions, right?
Yeah.
And always wanting to learn and education and
Sure.
understanding that you don't know everything. There's no way you know everything. There's no way. There's
Right.
so much more to learn
Yeah.
in life.
Or finding somebody that's doing the same, industry as you too, and just leaning
Right.
on them, because it's not really competition at that point. It's just really just mentorship, like you said, trying to understand things that you just don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. People that have been in the industry, like in my office specifically, when I first started out, I was just standing behind that guy. I was just standing, absorbing everything and her, both anyone that was successful in the office, just standing behind them, just absorbing everything that they were saying, listening to everything, any little acronym, any kind of like things that they would say to make the client laugh or keep them, intrigued in the conversation. Like I have tried to absorb as much as I can of that. So yeah, it's just understanding the right people to follow. Because I could say it's a bad experience following the wrong people, and you don't want to do that for very long. Then you start picking up their traits, you start doing the wrong things, and then it starts to show. It starts to show that you don't care about people because you were following those that didn't care.
That, and I'm back to your point about, having the support. I think it's also important too to just kind of, if you're in that phase of life and there's a good majority that are not necessarily in that phase of life or support your decision, probably find a different support system.
Right.
I'm a full believer of that. If they're not just trekking with not the same ambitions, everyone has different goals in
Right.
life, but if they're not supporting you wanting to open your own business and just either trying to give you ideas or just hype you up on it,
Mhm.
probably not the
Yeah.
circle of peers that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should be associating
Even
with
if it's
because
the
they'll hold you
small,
back.
yeah, the small stuff too.
The small
Right?
stuff,
They're
yeah.
not like
Anything.
Yeah.
Any
They're not
win.
like, let's go
Yeah.
on like the small stuff. You're not with the right people. I agree completely.
I think that's a huge thing. I just keep seeing all that stuff, pop up my Facebook because my mindset's changed. I'm
Mhm.
like yours is. I'm sure you're not seeing just people out over here just on vacations all the time, and you're just in the office just grinding it out day in and day out.
Funny enough, I see a bunch of health insurance ads. That's a lot of what I see because
Yeah.
I post it myself, and people tag me and things. So a lot of what I see is health insurance. So
Yeah.
I'm like in my own bubble. That and Pristine Connections stuff.
Yes, yeah,
I try to like as much as I can.
as you should, as you should.
Yeah.
I'm sure that group's been a huge help for you too.
Yeah, I love that group.
Yeah.
Like last week, I almost stood up today when we were in the our 16-minute thing.
Yeah.
Almost tearing up because I missed this guy so much. It was.
Aw.
I mean, it's just such a group. Like everyone here just really is ambitious about growing their business and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and doing the right thing by everyone around you, and that's huge.
Yeah.
You really don't see that.
And it's such a wide variety of businesses,
is.
which is also great.
Oh, it's growing dramatically too. I try to bring in as many people. I mean, any Joe Schmo off the street, I'm like, hey, you want a business? You want to come to a networking group? And then what's sad is I can't get enough people to come because they'll be from like other areas too far away or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm part of the Arlington Chamber and I do a lot of things downtown as well. So it's like trying to get people to come this direction is difficult.
We're like on a whole other planet out here.
Yeah. Even with Josh, I try to get him to go a little bit south to like 635.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's too far.
It
I'm like,
is.
It's 15 minutes. It's
Is it
not.
though in traffic right
Traffic,
now?
okay, yeah, it could be an hour.
Yeah, exactly that. So the challenges that you faced, I mean, how do you think that's made you a better leader?
Leader, I mean, I don't want to say that like leading is the best example of what I'm doing, right? I'm not leading anyone right now. I'm really kind of focusing on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when that time comes, I believe I'd be a good leader. But right now, teaching other individuals and things like that, I wouldn't say is like my go-to because it's hard to do the networking and stuff like that, talking to people. And not a lot of people have that aspect and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say, being a leader right now is my main focus. Just doing as much as I can to become a leader is what I'm doing right now.
That's great. And how do you do that? Or do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts? Or do you just lean on your networking?
I mean, trying to talk to as many people as possible, trying to have as many conversations with people as possible, understanding, what other leaders did, right? I think of myself as like kind of a younger individual. Like, I'm 26, so like not many 26-year-olds like have their own business and are doing absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm still in that phase where I can honestly say I'm not in that leader position yet. Right. You're not really meant to be a leader yet, I would say.
I respect that.
Mm.
That's a good viewpoint. So tell us, just a little bit more about your day-to-day, in the insurance world, how people can find you, what's, important to know about, potential clients that are looking for you. I mean, talk to us about that.
Yeah. I mean, the Pristine Networks, you can find me there every Tuesday. I'm not going to miss anymore, I tell you that. But yeah, I mean, you could find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook. We're, just starting an Instagram and stuff like that.
Okay.
Trying to get a Google up and doing the website and stuff like that. But a lot of where I've been working is, just seeing people in person and talking in person.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a lot of my business.
Yeah.
Especially this new year.
And then really focusing, so anybody obviously 65 and younger
Yes.
is your
that's my
biggest
primary
need right now. Okay. Is
Yeah.
it are you trying to do more, future or not future clients, but like the younger generation who is getting kicked off their parents' insurance at
Yes.
26?
Those are good, yeah.
Okay.
Those are definitely, people that I could help, especially if they're wanting to find something inexpensive and if they are starting their own business or something like that. Another one is if they're going into a field that's not being, they're offering really expensive insurance.
Yeah.
Or typically a lot of companies that will offer insurance to, younger individuals, they won't cover the full amount right away because they're still new.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be, they don't know if they're going to be there forever.
Sure.
So sometimes they don't cover them as much as they would another individual or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, you age off your plan, 26, great example. You get, you quit your job or, someone fires you, you're on Cobra, another great person.
Yes.
Cobra is super expensive. I really like to
Yeah.
help individuals that are going against Cobra unless they need it. There are a lot of people, if they're on Cobra and they're using it really, like using it to its full capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a lot of things going on, medications and procedures and stuff like that, then Cobra is a really good route for them. But typically, you can find a cheaper route somewhere else, and then anyone else that's again business owner,
Mm-hmm.
huge group that I try to focus on because
Okay.
they're the ones that are going without it right now. A
Yeah.
lot of them are going without it. The 1099 person, the person that's a contractor, they're the ones going without it because they think, oh, it's way too expensive because they looked at Marketplace, right? They've been shown Obamacare plans that are really expensive. And then, where I work in that realm is offering that cheaper solution to them.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we appreciate you being on here today.
Thank you so much.
Any closing thoughts that you want to share? Obviously, we'll make sure we get your tags to your socials added to the podcast when it posts.
Closing notes? No, I just love what you guys are doing. It's really awesome.
We appreciate you being here. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being part of the group.
Yeah,
We
appreciate
will see you next time.
it. Yeah, thanks.